Morning, everyone. So happy to see all of you. Looks like we have a full squad this morning. So before we get started, I'd like to read the COVID-19 announcement for public meetings. Pursuant to Governor Newsom's Executive Order N2520, members of the Daly City Library Board of Trustees, Recreation Commission, and staff will participate in this meeting via teleconference. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream. Board of Trustees and Recreation Commission meeting live stream, and to submit comments through the live stream website and or submit public comments via email prior to the public meeting. To submit a comment in writing, please email libraryboard@dalycity.org and write public comment in the subject line. In the body of the email, include the item number and or title of the item, as well as your comments. All comments received by 4 p.m. on Friday, May 29, 2020, will be emailed to the Library Board of Trustees and Recreation Commission members and included as an add to packet on the city's website prior to the meeting. Those comments received after 4 p.m. on Friday, May 29, 2020, which passed, will be added to the record and shared at the public meeting. Persons with disabilities who require auxiliary aids or services in attending or participating in this meeting should call the Department of Library and Recreation Services as soon as possible prior to the meeting. So good morning again, and welcome to this special joint meeting for the Daly City Library Board of Trustees and Recreation Commission for May 30th, 2020. I call this meeting to order. Shall we stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I think somebody has a flag, so that's pretty cool.
Good job, Jack.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call, please?
Absolutely, and we will start with the Recreation Commission. Chair Christine Luna.
Here.
Vice Chair Luis Landos. Commissioner Nadia Flamenco. Commissioner Nate Ortiz.
Here.
Commissioner Jack Pastor.
Here.
And Library Board of Directors. President Angela Logarta.
Here.
Lauren Doss.
Present.
Teresa Faapua.
Here.
Alex Ruivivar.
Here.
Justine Santos.
Here.
Awesome.
Thank you. I hope everybody has had a chance to review today's agenda. If there are no updates, is there a motion to move?
I'd like to put in a motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And for the minutes for our last digital meeting, April 21st, is there a motion to move?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And for the Recreation Commission meeting on April 28th, 2020, is there a motion to move?
Enter a motion to approve.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. May we have the director's report, please?
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first joint meeting in quite a while. This is a really, really difficult time, both on our library side and our recreation side. The rules are changing daily, as you will find out. What we had planned to share with you today actually changed a little bit yesterday afternoon. But we'll start off with the library. And although all 4 libraries remain closed due to the shelter-in-place order and may not open for the rest of the summer, it's a phase 3 opening schedule, which there's no date certain for libraries in California. But that doesn't mean we haven't stopped working. Staff is fully engaged, and I'll turn it over to Chayla to give you a hint of what has been happening and what is on the horizon, both short-term and long-term. So Chayla, if you can take it away, please.
Sure. We're trying to bridge that gap while our buildings are closed to make sure people are aware that we are still able to provide services. They look a little bit different, but we're still here. So of course, there's a big emphasis on our digital services. So we're have started doing some virtual programming, and I'll let Sarah speak to that in a moment. But things like story time, and of course, as we move into the summer reading program, that will also include a lot of virtual programming. We're also adding ebooks, e-audiobooks, and expanding some of our other e-resources. These are things that are available to anyone in the community with a library card, and anyone who doesn't yet have a card. We've tried to make that process as seamless as possible. It can be done online at the just go to the library's website, dalycity.org/library. And we started off mailing things that people had requested before the closure, and have expanded that service so that we are mailing things upon request that we have available in our facilities, because those are the facilities we have access to right now. And we are about to move into the next phase where we expect to be able to provide curbside pickup. We're going to start with our main library just because the layout of that facility makes that a lot easier, and that's where the bulk of our collection is as well. So assuming that goes smoothly, we'll likely expand that. And so that'll be the next stage until we are able to allow people into the buildings again. And I think Sarah Spence, our youth services librarian, has joined us today, and she has been working with the librarians in other PLS libraries. They're coordinating to provide a summer learning program. We do this every year, and it'll be quite different this year, but it's still going to be amazing. I saw some of the things that we've enjoyed in years past. The books have come in, and we'll still have the scholarship raffle, but other things will be a little bit different. Sarah, do you mind giving a short update?
Sure. Good morning. So I'm working with the library staff right now to come up with virtual programming for the summer, which is very different. But I think we have a good lineup of what we're going to do. So we have been doing 3 story times a week that we've been putting on Facebook Live, and starting after school gets out, so the 15th is when we'll be starting our summer programming. We're going to be doing some STEAM classes, and we're going to partner with Rec. I'm so excited. So I'm going to be reading picture books that have to do with cooking, some kind of food in the book, and then David Setzer is going to cook the food, and that'll be, so we're still working on it, but he's going to be probably doing it the same week that I read the book, so it'll coincide together. And so that's exciting. We're working on another program with the Rec department, the seniors, and our kids, doing a pen pal program, pairing up children with seniors in the community to write letters to each other. So we're still working on that. And then what else? Oh, I'm going out next week. I'm taking some books and reading logs to our some of the schools that do the food distribution. So Bayshore and a couple of the middle schools and an elementary school. We're going to be doing that before school gets out. And so our summer learning program is just going to be virtual digital. Um, Everything's going to be online, and then if people want to print out the log, they can do that, and we'll have some available. Hopefully, when we do curbside, we can do some signups as well. So it's going to look very different, but I think we're doing a good job coming together.
That's your cue, Jayla.
Sorry, I meant to unmute myself and I put in a bunch of spaces. So I just wanted to ask if there were any questions about what we're doing for summer learning. As I mentioned, we do have some books that we're going to try and keep virus free and manage to get into the hands of kids. And then of course we're also focusing more on ebooks for children as well, and growing those collections.
Yeah, I think I just want to chime in first and just appreciate you all for the work that you're doing. Moving a whole summer program to virtual is like something I'm doing for work, and it's really hard when you don't have any models to go by. And just like, yeah, I think folks don't know like the background of having to put on one virtual event. So to do multiple, just want to give you all a lot of props. I think my one question is around community partnerships. I think I know some like educators and like childcare centers that have been doing some like virtual storytelling in Daly City. And I'm wondering if you all would be interested in having partners, maybe guest speakers come in and do some of that programming to support.
That sounds like a wonderful opportunity. Yeah, I know some of our neighboring libraries are partnering, some of the more traditional partnerships with like the fire department. But yeah, all those partnerships are great, and to be able to, just keep those connections live is very, very valuable. I saw Victoria also had something to add.
Hello. Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. I also wanted to say that I really appreciate how you guys are working so hard to, to adapt to the situation. And I just wanted to ask one question that had come up in the community. I was wondering if the Chromebooks are still available for checkout, or has that had to be, that program had to be put aside because of the pandemic?
So we checked out pretty much all of the hotspots and Chromebooks before the closure, and then just because of the situation, we extended due dates, and you'll see it's a evolving still, and we've just extended the due dates another month. So that's applied to the technology that's checked out, as well as the books and media.
So there's no capacity for new people to come in and check out Chromebooks because they're already checked out.
I believe all of them, or nearly all of them, are checked out right now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We actually looked into adding, because that's clearly a need while we're closed and nobody can access the public computers. But there's such demand system-wide from schools and other libraries that there's actually stocking them has been a challenge.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that, and I'll piggyback off of what they said, that I appreciate you all. These are unprecedented times, and I know that you had to be like super strategic to create a program because we've never been through anything like this before. So thank you so much. I see your storytelling, Sarah, on Facebook. So you do a really good job engaging virtually. So one question I did have is, I know that periodically you guys are going to the library and checking the voicemails. Are there any major concerns that you're getting via your voicemail?
So we have actually set up, it's a Google line for people to get help with their accounts or with reference services. And so I understand from the staff person that's answering that people are just checking in, that there's not, they just want to make, some people haven't heard that the due dates have been extended, or they want to know when we're going to open, which of course we don't know yet. So, but we haven't had any overarching concerns voiced through that mechanism. I don't know if Joseph, if you've been hearing from the community.
No, the community has been incredibly understanding through this. And I will say that actually some of the comments we're getting are thank yous, which are really refreshing and helps boost the morale. People are working in a library, ceremony library. There's somebody there, at 5 days a week, gathering items that are on hold, and we've been doing the mail-in and gearing up for the curbside service. So people are working hard processing books, but they're not seen by the public. So to get an occasional thank you either by the phone or by email is really uplifting.
I think it'll be really gratifying for the staff to move into the next phase with the curbside and have that from a distance connection with the patrons. And I know that Sarah has been for quite a while now doing the story time, and that's on Facebook Live. So there's that interaction with some of the young patrons and the families. So keeping that going. I wanted to express my gratitude to Trustee Teresa Faupua for helping us get the word out about some of our programs, distributing our flyer at the thank you, at the food distribution at Jefferson High School. That was greatly appreciated because we're relying a great deal on putting the word out through social media and on the website, but that's not where everyone is. And so being able to reach people we wouldn't otherwise is such an incredible benefit. We really appreciate that.
Kudos to her for multitasking.
I know.
She is at a food drive trying to listen in on the meeting. So she's just amazing. And I know she came up with that idea.
Yeah, and you see her, working today at a Second Harvest Food Bank food distribution, and it might make her feel happy too that some of our library staff actually have been doing that this past, every Thursday there's a food distribution at Westlake Park. And you may not know this, but the library staff are part of that effort too. Then we had 4 or 5 library staff on the line on Thursday. So we appreciate what you're doing right this minute, Teresa. We've been doing it too, and it's not always an easy job.
It's hard work.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Teresa. I did have one more question regarding the 3D printers and us helping, with COVID-19 creating, I believe, they're like holders for masks, or how was that going?
It went really well. We actually we were distributing them through the county, and they wrote back to thank everyone that participated. It was not just our library, but other libraries in the county. And it's a small thing, but it really, if you're wearing a mask, especially, in a healthcare situation where everything's so tight to your face, it really is physically, has a toll on your face. And so ear savers were really appreciated. And we got a request for some more of them, and staff are still printing them.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thankfully also some other types of PPE are now more readily available. So hopefully those kinds of shortages will pass.
Okay, before we move on to recreation, one other library update I wanted to give you. I'm not muted, am I? Okay. If you've been by Westlake Library, you may have seen an awful lot of action over there. There's a major capital project that was scheduled for Westlake Library that is moving forward right now with the library closed. That entails there are 4 very large heating, ventilation, air conditioning units up on that roof. They were old, and all 4 of them were removed, and they were being replaced as we speak. The last report I heard yesterday, they were hoping to have 2 of the 4 units in place, and we'll be working on the other 2 units next week. That library is in a bit of chaos, both inside and out right now with all the construction activity. It's also required some structural work to the roof as well as on the roof itself. So if you drive by Westlake Library and wonder what all the construction activity is, that is what that is. And we hope that gets wrapped up soon so we get some staff back in there and get the library cleaned up a little bit, and look forward to the day it reopens along with the other 3 branches. Any more library questions before we move on to recreation? right, seeing none. We'll move on to recreation. Recreation has been working really hard since the middle of March to try to help the community in every way we can. The big lion's share of our effort has been sustaining the senior lunch program. So if you go by the Dolger Senior Center, even though the senior center and our offices are closed to the public, the kitchen 5 days a week is buzzing with activity. Opal Fuller, David Zetzer, and a crew have been preparing meals for about 150 seniors every week. 150 times 5. My math isn't that quick, but that's a lot of meals they're producing every week. If you're not familiar how that's, before the closure, we had guests come to the Dolger Senior Center and Lincoln Park Community Center for the congregate nutrition program. With the shelter in place, we don't want seniors congregating right now, so we are having them pick up their meals in a drive-through service, and we're actually doing some home delivery for some homebound folks too. So that's happening, and I mentioned the food distribution effort going on every Thursday at Westlake Park. We've also had a multitude of virtual programming, but as you can imagine, staff is really anxious to actually start delivering in-person kinds of programs. So with that, I'm going to introduce Denise Brown, and we've got a whole bunch of recreation staff on board today. And one thing I will say is part of this presentation is going to talk about our summer youth recreation program, which we've been gearing up for. And it's a difficult challenge to comply with the office of the orders from the public health officer. And that changed again on us yesterday. So we had been gearing up for a 4-week summer youth recreation program. We now, because that's all that we could do under the order. But the order changed yesterday that allows 3-week increments. And you know what, before I talk anymore, Denise, I'm going to turn it over to you. You can introduce the staff that will be talking about summer youth recreation program.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Denise.
Hi. So I have on the phone, or excuse me, on the Zoom, Jeanette Ganame, who's recreation coordinator, David Zetzer, who's the recreation services supervisor, and Jennifer and Romeo, who are the senior recreation services supervisor. I'm going to turn it over to David and Jeanette as they have been planning stealthily to get a program to the youth of the community in the summer. So David?
Good morning. Shayla, if there's a way I could share my screen. Thank you. All right. Good morning. So I'm working off of 2 computers. Sorry if I'm not looking directly forward. Here we go. So I'm going to talk to you today about the Summer Youth Recreation Program. Traditionally, the Summer Youth Recreation Program runs for 10 weeks. We can serve over 350 youth from the grades of 1st to 8th grade. Because of the COVID-19 and the situation we're in, we have to do a modified program. The program that we are thinking of offering, or trying to offer, I should say, is in 4 locations: Westlake Park, in the Merced Room, Larkham Clubhouse, Taglia Community Center, Lincoln Park Community Center, and then we have other and additional places that we can expand if we have the ratio and the participation that we need. The current guidelines require participation for 4 weeks as of yesterday morning. Now we hear 3 weeks, so we can go back to the board and revise the program to 2 sessions each of 3 weeks. The price will drop because it's less weeks, but we still do have to offer it in consecutive week programming. Participants have to enroll and stay in that group and with that program for the 3 weeks. The program will be administered in compliance with the current state and county public health orders, and this will include numerous protocols to maintain social distancing and other relevant measures to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The program modifications that we are talking about is first offering the program for essential workers, have 10 participants per group per location, 2 to 3 assigned staff per group for the entire session with no switching groups, curbside drop off and pickup, health and wellness questionnaire and temperature checks for staff participants upon drop off and arriving, workstation set with social distancing in mind. Participants will have their own supply kits provided to limit sharing, include hand washing frequently, face masks will be required, there will be no field trips or special events, recreation staff and or custodial staff will be cleaning and disinfecting regularly, and recreation programming, keeping in mind social distancing guidelines with thoughtful games, crafts, STEM, and food projects, and specialists doing projects virtually. That's it. I know it's probably going to be a lot more work than this short video or this short presentation, but things are changing so frequently and often that we are constantly having to go back and modify to stay in line with what we have to offer for the health and safety of our community and the kids in our program. Thank you.
I'll add a little bit to what David just said. So the concept of keeping the kids together to conform with the public health order is to create a second household for the children and to eliminate the risk of children intermingling like they normally would in a summer camp environment. So we're talking about, call it cohorts or bubble pods of 10 kids that will spend, it looks like now, 3 weeks together without intermingling with any other kids from any other group, and the same staff assigned to them. So essentially they have their household at home with mom and dad and their family, and then their second household would be with us in the summer youth recreation program. And again, the idea is to limit the interaction to prevent the potential for the spread of COVID-19. So it's very, very different than anything we've done before. And for what it's worth, I participate in these type of meetings with my counterparts across the county every week, and we're all in this together, trying to navigate what this summer is going to look like. And the rules keep changing on us. It was funny because we had a meeting on Wednesday, and everyone was all in for these 4-week block programs, and then yesterday that changed that we can actually do 3 weeks, which I think it's going to make us react a little bit and maybe refocus how our summer is going to go. But I think in the long term, that might be better to have 2 3-week sessions, because what we were planning to offer was only going to be 1 4-week session. So hopefully we can pick up the slack and actually start enrolling folks sooner than later. We have not yet opened registration, but we're looking forward to it.
Joseph, Teresa asked a question in chat. Is that question you asked in chat, Teresa, for the summer program or for any other program?
I'll answer. We do have a scholarship program. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to kick this over to Denise because she actually administrates our scholarship program. Do you want to address that question, Denise? For directly for how a SYRP scholarship would happen.
So again, as you stated, this is different times for everyone, and normally our scholarship would take effect for a season, so a summer season, a spring season, like that. This is kind of something that we would have to discuss. It would probably go for a summer season, and if the season included a 3-week period, I don't know, Joseph, would it be 50% off that lump sum of money?
Yeah, that would, to answer Board Member Falpua's question, yes, the scholarship usually is a 50% reduction there. Some children that are through the county program already, the county has a deal where they fully fund participation in some programs. And it's a tough time. The fact that you're standing out there at a food distribution, I think, really puts an exclamation point on how this has affected our community. We've had lots of families where both, they were two-income families that are now no-income families struggling to survive and lining up for hours just to get food. So when it comes to, how are they going to pay for summer programming, we're certainly sympathetic to that. Part of our charge too under the health order is to provide this program for essential workers. So we're assuming a lot of the kids that will be in this program are the offspring of people who haven't lost their jobs, that have been essential workers through the whole time. We'll definitely keep an open mind, and the scholarship program is out there for the folks that need it. And our goal is to serve the youth of Daly City the best way we can.
Question for you guys. What is the max capacity for each 3 weeks?
10 per location, per room. And it's very specific in that we can go up to 12, but we know that we want to have a little bit of wiggle room. So if we have to over enroll, because there are 9 kids, but then the next kid that wants to enroll is 2. So we want to be able to have that little bit of room to give the registration participants, if that makes sense.
Just want some clarification on it. So that means per session for the 3 weeks at all 4 sites, the total number of kids would be around 42 to 48 max overall?
Yes.
Okay.
Because each kid has to be spaced 6 feet apart. So we can't be in our smaller facilities like Marchbank and Hillside, because that is a very tiny room. Tables have to be 6 feet apart. The kids all have to be facing forward. It's a lot of stuff. So we wanted to be in facilities where we can give them room to social distance.
Understood.
The thought is that you're keeping the kids together. Also, I'm hoping that they'll relax some of the guidelines, because the kids are pretty much quarantining together as a family, like you would in your home. But until that happens, we just have to work with what they're telling us. A question was brought up on the chat about masks. I believe it says right now that everybody, participants and staff, need to wear masks. If that is relaxed because it's a family pod later on, excuse me, that would be great. But until we see something in writing, we're going with the practice of everybody needs to wear masks, except I'm guessing during lunch and snack.
Yes, and that is a great question. It came from President Angela Lagarta. It's something that all the cities are looking for guidance from the county health officer to see. Once that pod is established, can they indeed interact like they would at their household? That would be ideal. But for now, we're erring on the side of caution, and we are saying for now, unless the order is redirected that says you don't need a mask, we're going to require masks.
I have a question.
Go for it, Nadia. No, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. So why we don't turn this summer time for webinars so our kids can learn virtually? I have been taking a lot of classes webinar, and it has been really helpful for me. The kids improve their knowledge this way, and we can get more capacity, maybe cheaper prices, but make fine experts, I don't know, or making content in that's amazing that the library is here, because we can make contest where, let's say, let's ship to the kids 10 books the whole summer, and then they do something or create content for creators, kids that are at home right now. We have good drawers, we have writers, and we have to explore what the kids the skills are. So I find through webinars it has been really amazing for me to even release the stress and taking courses. So I think we should do a work together with library and recreation to create webinars for the summer program, so the kids continue learning any skills, even sports or drama, writing. I volunteer for theater if you guys need me. But I don't know if you guys are thinking about webinars as well.
Yes, actually, those familiar with the portal for registration for recreation activities and camps and classes. It's ActiveNet, and it's not just a Daly City portal. It's used widely by recreation departments across the country, and they have actually put together a package of different online activities. I'll tell you, as a parent, and perhaps Commissioner Flamenca and I will disagree on this. The last thing I want this summer is more screen time for my kids. I mean, I want them to get out in the sunshine and fresh air. They have been cooped up now. I think my kids have spent 10 weeks of Zoom classes all day long. I don't want that to be the summer. That's me. We might have a different perspective on that. And the other thing, SYRP is, I think David mentioned, it's going to be from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoons. That's a full day. Most of the online content that's out there it's not going to be 8 to 4 max. In fact, one nearby Daly City, Spindrift, it's the performing arts nonprofit out of Pacifica. If you're familiar with that, they're putting together a summer program online, and I think they're doing 2-hour blocks. And it's going to be interesting because they have a theater program online, and at the end it's going to culminate in some kind of performance. It'll be interesting to see how they pull that off on Zoom. Anyway, that's a great question. We hope to point folks to a menu of online options that are made through our registration provider, ActiveNet.
Justine asked, will there be oh my God, why can't I talk this morning? Will there be priority for who gets in the program, and what would be the criteria? Right now, it is for essential workers only. They will have to be an essential worker. What is an essential worker? The definition is changing as more places are opening up. Is that going to be lifted or changed? We don't know, but if it's defined as an essential worker, then you will be allowed to enroll in the program. All registration will be online only, so we're going to have them answer questionnaires, and it would be first come, first serve for registration. We hope that we can have registration open in the next week, and we will put a release out through our iPlay and Facebook or all of our media outlets to let people know registration opens. We do have to create the class codes. We do have to create the waiting list and the questionnaires and the pickup list, so we can have all the information logged into the ActiveNet, so we can do touchless sign in and sign out.
You know, one other thing we've mentioned many times, that these are unprecedented times, and one of the things we're learning, a lot of parents aren't ready to send their kids off. So the demand is a little bit unknown now. I mean, when we open the registration, we'll have a better idea. But I will tell you, our phones are not ringing off the hook. We're not getting emails like crazy people wanting to put their kids in summer camp. So I have a feeling the enrollment might be on the low side, because one, parents are kind of accustomed to the routines they've set with their children who have been home the last 2 months, and the fear, that the virus is still in our community. It didn't go away. So there's fear that introducing kids into yet another group would increase the odds of spreading. So it'll be interesting when we do open registration to see what the demand is. We've polled people. In fact, is Jeanette still on the line? I don't see her.
Yes.
Jeanette, what you've spoken to some of the folks, because before this all hit, we already had people registered, and Jeanette's made contact with them. So maybe Jeanette, you can share what the reaction is from the people you spoke to.
So I have contacted everybody who has signed up previously before all this took place. It was probably half and half. A lot of people did want to wait until we had guidelines in place before they made a final decision if they wanted to let their kids come to camp. And then they said they would let us know after that. Previously, there was about 40 kids signed up before we turned off our registration. So with that, we had about half of them who said yes, they were still interested, and the other half was either unsure or waiting for a plan. So now that we kind of have our guidelines in place, we're going to reach out to them again and let them know and then find out from there. I also wanted to jump in and say it doesn't have to end at 40. We have other potential sites that we can open up, are available to use if needed, but we want to mainly keep it at those sites and then work from there. So we may be able to reach more people.
Trust me, one day you're gonna get to know this little guy.
Hello?
I think we're all interested in what's coming through on the other people's non-muted phones. Is there any other questions from the group for the SYRP program?
I have a question.
Yes.
Will you be able to open up an opportunity at schools, facilities to spread the opening for accepting more children if necessary, if needed?
I'll answer that, David. I think one, that's a great idea. We have, you know, for instance, the Dolder Senior Center is closed to the public right now. That was a former school site. It's set up with classrooms. That's definitely one of our options for overflow. We've got a couple other places throughout the city. We haven't specifically talked about doing the program at a school site. I think we have enough city sites that we control. Part of the issue, and we have been in contact with schools in the superintendent's office. Part of their concern is maintenance. You know, if we introduce kids into the campus that's otherwise closed, they've got to bring their custodial crews in. They've got to worry about sanitizing protocols. So we'd like as much as possible to control the environment we put the kids in and keeping them in city facilities. And I think we've got room to grow if the demand is there, for sure.
My thing is because Bayshore is always left over the hill. So, you know, it would be nice if I can talk to my superintendent and see if we can work something out. I would like to have more Bayshore students to be part of it because most of the activities is going on this side of the hill of the city. Hardly Bayshore's students, and community, or some of the services or the fun activities is happening on our side. So I would like to see how can we collaborate and be partnership with the school district on that matter.
We're certainly open to that. Hopefully we can have that dialogue very soon so that we can establish if that's going to be one of our sites for sure.
Thank you.
Hey, Joseph, got a quick question. What are the current rules for public usage of the parks?
Parks are open for walking, running, dog, people bringing their dogs on leash, preferably. But the current order from the health officer is no shared equipment, no team workouts. So if you're thinking what I think you're thinking, no, there's no team sports allowed. But the parks, I know the order is a little confusing, and some of the signages says the parks are closed. We certainly welcome folks from the neighborhood to use the parks to walk and exercise, but no group activities outside of your household. You're welcome to, if you live in a household of 10 people, those folks are welcome to come, throw a football around or a frisbee around. But the health order is to not commingle households in parks. The beaches, I think, will be what I have heard. The beaches will open up a little bit more in the coming week. If you've been down to the coast, it's been crazy, especially on Memorial Day weekend. But part of it is the parking lots are all closed, so people that wanted to go to the beach were ending up in neighborhoods and causing all kinds of traffic jams. So I think they're going to try to ease parking lots open and see how that goes and see if people can behave and still maintain social distance and wear masks.
Okay.
Thank you. Great question, Nate. Sure. Yeah, I know there's been a lot of confusion on that one point. Our playgrounds are still closed too, and that's because it's a high touch area. So we don't want kids sharing swings and slides and monkey bars and stuff. So yeah, some people, sadly, our parks folks come in and they tear all the caution tape down and have taken the swing sets down, and you know, we've had as many as 15, 20 kids jam into a playground. That's still not allowed at this point.
Okay. And one last thing for David, how is this impacting the volunteer program this summer? Because I know volunteers summer SYRP has been a big part of that program, so just wanted some clarity on that.
Like everything else, the volunteer leadership program is going to be modified. Because we have to keep the participants together, we are probably not going to have the traditional model of the volunteer program working in conjunction with the SYRP program. I've had conversations with Edgardo, and he's been talking with the volunteer leadership program team, or the volunteers manage. They're looking at doing a modified program with online trainings, and then possibly trying to help the teens get community service hours in other areas. And then do professional development and have guest speakers and the trainings all online. And so the teens are not intermingling. And they might try to find their own home to offer programs or something for the teens. It's not my area. This is just stuff that I heard. It is a work in progress because we were waiting to see what the rules and regulations are. But they're going to be following the codes and regulations set forward, just like every other program that we offer.
And I'll add to that too. Nate, that's a great question. And we have been in contact with the teens, and they want to do stuff. We want to do stuff with them. But as David alluded to, they will have to play by the same rules of the health order. So getting a cohort or a bubble pod or whatever you want to call them together for a minimum of 3 weeks in groups of 10 or less would be our goal. So we're not closing the door on teens at all. They're going through the same thing everybody else is. And for those poor high school kids that have had their school year disrupted in the graduating class of 2020, you're missing out on proms and other, our own talent shows and stuff that are huge in the spring. We definitely want to keep the teens of Daly City engaged.
Thank you, guys.
I just wanted to just commend, the whole recreation staff. Like, I know that it's not easy to pivot every single day and then have to deal with your own personal lives during this time. So it's just really great to see how dedicated you are to provide these options for the youth and the community and the essential workers, you being yourselves essential workers. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Are you raising your hand, Justine? No.
No, sorry, it was a habit. I just snapped. Snapping in agreement.
A couple of other quick things on recreation side. What we have not talked at all about aquatics, traditional swim lessons, even though the health order allows for public pools to open, to conform to the regulations that came with the opening of pools is really challenging. And right now, it's not looking like we're going to have recreation swim or swim lessons over the course of the summer. Traditionally, that's one of our more popular camps is Aqua Camp, and it's a great thing. And it's where we get a lot of our feature lifeguards, and we're really, really going to miss that experience this summer. But with the guidelines in place and the social distancing requirements around a public swimming pool, bringing a group of kids in is pretty much impossible. So I know we didn't specifically talk about aquatics, but I did want to share that with you.
I have a quick question on that, Joseph, because I know I've been seeing in some places that people are coming up with kind of phasing out, phasing plans for reopening and things like that. And I'm just wondering if for library and rec we have some sort of plan, or I think just looking for what are our indicators for when we're going to move to different things that we can even share with community so they know what to expect.
Yeah, on both the library and recreation side, I'll start with the library side. They have a whole committee. It's called the Reopening Planning Committee, if I'm not mistaken, right? Nod your head, something like that. So they're coming up with all of what it would take under the different guidelines to reopen the libraries, including lots of physical changes at the buildings. And I think most of us probably have had an experience going to a grocery store in the last 10 weeks and knowing how different that is. we envision libraries being somewhat like that, where suddenly there would be glass partitions at the reference desk, far fewer computers, because right now our computers are very close together. Coming up with protocols for sanitizing commonly touched equipment. So there is a committee that's put together quite a document there, and it's the same on recreation. It's a variety of contingency plans. We had a whole contingency plan for aquatics that we had drafted, probably, Romeo shaking it, about 4 weeks ago or more. But unfortunately, we have to play by the rules that are given by the state and by the county health officer, and to conform with the rules, even though we could open the pool, we would serve so few people, and it would be so staff intensive to do that, that it would be a huge subsidy for a very tiny percentage of the Daly City population. So that's not looking like it's going to happen right now. But when things loosen up a bit, I'll tell you, there's also the Daly City Dolphins. It's an outside nonprofit group. They're not directly affiliated with the city, but they call Giamono Pool their home. And just like every other swim team in the Bay Area, they're all itching to get back in the water. And there's 90 kids. You can't get 90 kids into Giamono Pool and still practice social distancing. So we're hoping. It was interesting, London Breed's message this week. She had some very specific dates, target dates for opening different parts of San Francisco. I think San Mateo County is a little bit more cautious, and I think it's kind of arbitrary to assign a date when we expect these things to open, because, like I mentioned, the virus is still in our community, and I think it'd be a little bit premature to assume that we'll be, on, say, June 15th, ready to open up playgrounds. I just don't think that's going to happen. We are watching weekly what the county health officer is saying. Speaking of playgrounds, and totally off topic, but something, again, we talked about the changes at Westlake Library that are happening during this change. If you've been over to Gellert Park, you might have noticed the playground is gone. It was part of the city's plan to do some major improvements at Gellert Park this summer. So if there's a silver lining in all this, it's giving the contractors a great opportunity to work without having to, intermingle with the public over there. So the playground has been demolished. We're getting a new playground. We will have a new outdoor bathroom at Gellert Park, kind of, if you're familiar with the layout of the park, a little bit over toward the picnic shelter area. There will be a brand spanking new freestanding bathroom there for the public, and the courts are all going to be resurfaced and painted. So the renderings of the courts look awesome. And I'm hoping that project goes forward so that we can, when we're all ready to go back out and do team sports again, we'll have great basketball courts and tennis courts at Gellert Park. Any other questions, recreation or otherwise now?
Hey, Dave, also just a little question as a follow-up to our previous recreation meeting. Any updates on our young skateboard community members that might have shared you during their spot check of the Margate courts or what have you? You might have heard.
Again, that is a great question, Commissioner Pastor. Certainly our skateboard community is loving this time right now because the parking lots are closed to vehicles. So we've noticed a lot of skateboarders both at Gellert Park and at Westlake Park taking advantage of the empty parking lots. But to address your question specifically about the plans, the capital budget will be unveiled in a not too distant future to the City Council. Honestly, I have not seen the latest iteration of that. Certainly, our budget is in flux because obviously the revenues are going down, sales tax, dropping. But there was certainly a lot of discussion about Margate Park becoming a skate park, and I will share with the Recreation Commission in June at our Recreation Commission meeting. You've seen our Parks and Parks and Open Space Master Plan drafts over the last year or so. We're going to come back to the final version of that for the Recreation Commission to comment in, and that would be a great point to remind the folks putting that plan together. That's certainly a priority for a big chunk of our community.
Great. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Jack.
Any other questions or comments? We're right at time. Were there any announcements or anything upcoming that you wanted us to be mindful of, Joseph, Shayla?
I think, the big one is that we're going to institute the curbside pickup in the libraries this coming week, right? We have, jump in there, Shayla.
It'll the week of the 8th is the plan. We are starting with working with just the materials in our own collection, but other PLS libraries are obviously kind of on track, the same track as we are, and so we'll be resuming intra PLS library delivery probably sometime next month. So we should be able to expand it after that.
And are you going to be communicating that via Facebook or reaching out to patrons?
Yeah, we were actually discussing that yesterday. We'll definitely through our social media, the website, on our recordings on our telephones, and then you're talking about possibly signage out in the community as well to alert people.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I appreciate you all. Library, recreation, I mean, to get fluid updates and then transition that into what a program could possibly be for the community is very hard work. It's not easy. And then, you're getting a lot of comments from the public and questions that you may not be readily able to answer, but you guys are doing a fantastic job navigating. So, we appreciate you all as community members, as commissioners.
Yeah. And also, I think since we're at the end, I know that, and Teresa, feel free to chime in, but some of the thinking around meeting with you all and collectively was that we see so much of the things that we're working on and thinking about really connected, and I appreciate that rec and library are already working together, but just want to put on the table, especially in this time of COVID when we're all kind of navigating this virtual conversation together, and there's already opportunities folks are working together. I would be interested in another future conversation with you all, and I think it's important for us to have our own kind of huddles and spaces, but I think there's a lot of value in being able to have this conversation together, because I think the libraries and rec definitely is connected in Daly City. So
thank you. I will say that the two divisions will work closer this summer than they ever have before. We fully expect our library staff to be engaged with the summer youth recreation program. And as far as getting you all back together, I think Commissioner Falpula, this was, I think, her idea initially, and it was the reason we're meeting on a Saturday morning. We were hoping to have breakfast together and really get to know one another, and it's a little bit difficult to do that online. So I'm certainly looking forward to the day when we can physically get together and have a cup of coffee and a bagel or something. So yeah, we'll definitely get back together again as a group. And before
I want to shout out to the Park and Rec Department. I've seen you guys' page on Facebook for all those creativities that your staff has put out there, like arts and crafts and working out, exercise. That was so beautiful. Thank you for doing that.
No, thank you. So we're doing shout outs. I want to do a shout out to this guy named Alexander Ruiz-Vivar. Congratulations on your graduation, Alex. Did I shock you?
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that, Nate. Yeah, we're making David Zetzer a little bit of an online celebrity. Can you pop the agenda back up there, Shayla, so we can figure out where we are in this meeting? I think we're probably on commissioner reports.
Yeah, so we actually have no updates at this time. Obviously, we haven't been able to do very much visits or connecting with the community except for virtually here. So if there are any comments or questions that we want to put on the table.
I wanted to say just a last thing. Facebook just opened rooms. So it's similar to Zoom, but the good thing we can go live and then people can actually ask questions or comments live while we're doing this. So it's a good input for the community, I would say, for them to as well tell us what they want.
So maybe posting our meeting next time, like
No, Facebook have a new option now that is called rooms. So we can do
okay.
a room live, and then people can actually ask us question while we're doing this live. So we can give a live moment for public to ask questions while we're in session as well. And that's the difference between Zoom right now, because Zoom we record it and then we post.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly open to that idea, but just so everybody knows, we are live on YouTube right now and also OpenGov. So people can, and it's the same platform that the City Council and Planning Commission and the other groups are, so that people that have questions during the meeting can pose them. But if Facebook rooms make sense, it's certainly something we'll explore. I have a feeling we'll probably want to keep all of the city's commissions and the City Council on the same platform.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll certainly throw that out there as a suggestion. Thank you, Commissioner Flamenco. So on the agenda was the next thing were commissioners' reports, trustees' reports. I think we've gone through that. Announcement communications. Jennifer, I see you sitting out there very quietly, and maybe you want to mention what might be in store for the seniors over the summer, and also if you want to just, for those that didn't know what happened on this past Thursday, Jen, if you can just give a real quick update.
Oh, so we had a Zooming to Wellness event, and it was originally to replace our in-person fitness and resource fair that we offer, and we usually get about 400 participants that attend that. But we did transform it to a virtual live event, which was through Zoom, but then we had Facebook Live going on through it. And we introduced fitness activities that seniors can do. And we did polling just for people to get used to how Zoom works. But we found that the Facebook Live was getting more action. I think by the end of the event, we had about 150 people that were watching the Facebook Live. And it was our first event, so it was just pre-recorded videos of different types of exercises that you can do at home. So whether it was rotating your arms to learning how to do Tai Chi with just your basic foot movement, to a few live simple like 2-minute video, live exercise routines, like basic head, shoulder, knees, and toes, just to get your body moving. And we got a lot of great feedback. We are going to be trying to work out some of the kinks with how technology works and being able to respond to the Facebook Live comments as they're coming in, because there's a delay between Zoom and Facebook Live coming in. But hopefully my goal is to put on something for 4th of July and be able to talk about history a little bit and celebrate our independence here in the United States. And so we are meeting on Monday just to recap our event. And just to let you know, it was Leslie Jabridge, Ann Cooney, Edgardo Bolaños, Romeo Benson, and myself that worked together to try to put on this first event. And so we're really excited about the feedback we got. And again, we're hoping to do another event, and that would probably be on July 2nd because the 3rd is a holiday. So hopefully.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, so yeah, the next big virtual event may be coming around July 2. I think we've covered everything we had hoped to cover today. I really appreciate all of you coming out early on a Saturday morning. and especially Teresa there with her mask, serving the community in the Bay Shore. You're at the Bay Shore, I assume, Teresa. Or are you a Jeff? I don't know. Jeff. Okay.
Jeff, yes.
So we will definitely be in touch, and we'll do this again. We'll have our regular meetings for the Library Board of Trustees and the Recreation Commission during the month of June. And again, to Commissioner Pastor, we don't
Just to give you guys how it looks here in Jeff.
Yeah, it's an amazing effort. Every Thursday and Saturday.
Amazing.
1,200 families served every Thursday and Saturday.
1,200 meals.
1,200.
And I know that line is long. It goes all the way down Mission Street, down by Daly City BART, where my mom lives. So we appreciate
it. Wraps all the way down to Tuna Becerra sometimes.
It does, all the way almost to the theaters. Thank you for sharing that. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought here. Oh, to Commissioner Pastor, yes. So just to give a preview to the Recreation Commissioner, we will see the final draft of Daly City's Parks and Open Space Master Plan. So I'll see if I can't get a copy of that to share with you. In fact, it might be online now. I'll look for the link so you can have a peek before the presentation at our June meeting. And I think that's all I have today. If there's anybody else, I'll turn it back over to Angela.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that information with libraries and recreation. Once again, we appreciate you all and everything you're doing for the community. I'll call out one more time if anybody has anything to say for the good of the group before we adjourn. I think we're good. Okay, well, thank you so much for meeting this morning. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Bye now.
Thanks, everybody.
Be safe.
Bye.